Okay, so let's talk about English folk song. I'm going to play it throughout with no repeats for the sake of time. Ready, and... So keep in mind we're in 3/4. So there's gonna be 3 beats in every measure. And we're gonna start with our middle finger on the E. So it'll be E and then A, B, A. Then you have open E and G at the same time. So from the beginning, E, A, B, A, G and E. Then you have A, C, D. At that point, on the third full measure, you're gonna put your third finger on C, and your open E. Then you're gonna move the third finger to the G in the fourth measure, G and B. So we're gonna do the very beginning part again. Ready, and... So that's basically to the end of the first line. And then you have last 2 notes of the first line, but that leads us into the next phrase, which sounds like... So here we have just normal C, B, next line, 2 A's, A, so it's the open A, on the second fret A, B, A, G, and that's the same idea of the open E and the G, G, E, E. Then you have A and E, C, second fret, third string, A, then open B and E, B and E, then you have the double A's. At that point, you should make it all the way to the first repeat. And then you would repeat the whole idea from the beginning. Okay, so now we get to the B section, where we're going to actually go C, D, third finger on C, with a high E now. This is a very common technique where you're going to have C and C to go to the B and D. So I'd highly recommend anyone just to practice C, those 2 C's, to go to B and D. It'll happen quite a bit. So we're going to take it from the beginning of the B section. C, D, E, C, D, D, E, D. Then you have an open A with a C, C, D, and then the third finger on the G with open B. Now we're gonna get to kind of a weird little stretch because what's gonna happen is you're gonna do C, B, and if you notice on the second to last measure of this second to last line, we have the first finger on F. Then you have an A. I've done my third finger there. This recommends 2. You'll be fine with doing either one because you'll go or the third finger, then the open G and E. And that will lead us to the bottom line of A and E, A, G and E, double A, which we've kind of dealt with already in the beginning, earlier in the piece. And at that point, we get to the second repeat sign. So you would repeat that section. although it's not written in the end, the last two measures and pickup note, I would do it like a retard or roll tone. So now the way to slow down music naturally is, I always like to think of like a bouncing ball. So if a bouncing ball goes like this and goes faster, think of it like in the reverse motion, how naturally it would be. So we'd have a so, pending I don't mess up, let's try and do a run through from the beginning all the way to the end, and we won't do any repeats. So you can play with me. I'll give us 2 counts. 1, 2. 2. 'Let's get the repeat. So it probably wasn't good enough to play with, but hopefully that gives you an idea on the English folk song.